How we doing, everybody? Quick, simple intro. This is the pain. We got DeFran here. He's short on time. I'm short on time, but we had to get this in. Now, you're gonna have to link me that ESPN article because
Mhm,
I remember going through your video.
mhm.
I have no idea who's got a goddamn clue. Listen, I don't care where you go with the schedule here for the Seahawks.
Like
But
what?
just remember the first three games itself, right? The Colts have a quarterback that has a chip on his shoulder and is called damaged goods with an offensive line that's completely banged up. You had one guy that's hurt. You have one guy that, offensive line last year, this year is night and day. You're going to tell me that everything's going to be on pace? I mean, the defense is a little scary, but Russell Wilson early on is great. The Titans, that depends strictly on, I think, the Seahawks defense. I think
Right.
that's going to be the X factor in that one.
Yeah. If Derrick
So,
Henry runs for 200, yeah.
and let's just remember the Vikings are only good once every decade. So
Right.
you're telling me that there is not one win in that game? There's not.
No.
The fact that they're saying that it's going to be an 0-9 start to the Seahawks season when last couple of years it seems, oh, give Russell Wilson the MVP award now, and everyone's going, oh yeah, by the way, it's week 8, so you gotta give it a bit. Granted, things slow down, one guy gets hot, blah 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 blah. You remember what happened to Lamar.
Yeah.
But the fact that some airhead is saying that
Well, it
the
wasn't
Seahawks
even.
are starting off 0-9. What a joke.
It
Garbage.
was a quote unquote computer simulation. I want to know what computer they were using. To be completely honest,
What? Did
uh,
they put Blitzboy, DK, Lockett, and freaking Russell on the IR? Like, what the hell are they doing?
I don't know. I honestly have no explanation. Now they could have said, oh, Seattle doesn't make the playoffs. I still disagree with that, but like whatever. 0-9. We played
That's also night and day difference. You just go from somebody being like, oh yeah, they're not making the playoffs. It's like, hey, if one of our guys gets hurt, if the offensive line, something's got to give, if Russell slows down, if the wide receiver's not hyped up to be, there's a couple of things where you could say this. And realistically, if everything's not in sync with the Seahawks, something can go wrong in those tough games.
right, right.
This schedule they have is not a cakewalk. I got that part. But the fact that you're going to say 0-9, the fact that a lot of these teams with a lot of big what ifs are going to completely just plow through them, you basically bend them over and have your way, that's not happening.
Well, and the other thing is we all know quarterback's the most important position. In every game except for maybe Green Bay, you could argue Green Bay, we have the advantage at quarterback. You're going to tell me we go 0-9 in those games? Really? I don't know.
Let's see this. We got the Colts. That's a win.
I think
Titans. I don't know there. Again, I think the defense is okay, I can agree with that. The Vikings, I give the advantage to the Seahawks. I'm going to split the Niners series.
Oh, that's fair.
So no matter how you put that, one's going to be a win, one's going to be a loss. I think that's okay.
That, yeah.
Okay, so from there, Rams. Let's just split that series too.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the hell the Steelers are. We have no idea what the hell the Saints are, and they're pretty banged up. If any team is going to take a dip, that's going to be a team.
They might not even have Michael Thomas when they play us. It could be the Saints without Michael Thomas.
I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a Michael Thomas and a Drew Brees less team. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
The Jags, I think you got to give the advantage to them.
To the Jags?
No, to the Seahawks.
Oh, I was like, AJ.
Jags, you got to get to the Seahawks. Packers is the only thing I worry about.
Packers in Lambeau is, if I had to sit here and guarantee one loss for the Seahawks, or if I had to say this is the one I think we lose, it's definitely Packers in Lambeau. That's never good.
And let's just put it to you this way. We understand the cap hit and everything else. I'll just say this. I know that Aaron Rodgers is not going to get Mahomes type money. But if you don't think that a team, especially since this is definitely his last year in Green Bay, you're telling me that he's not going to try and put up the best numbers of his career, try and bring home another MVP, and potentially get another deal that's worth probably what, 3 years, 100 some odd million dollars with 90 million of that guaranteed. I
Yeah.
think you're just, I think you're clueless.
Yeah.
He is going to be on a reign of terror.
Yeah. A
The
pissed
only
off
thing
Aaron
that
Rodgers
scares
is never
me,
fun.
yes, the only thing that concerns me with the Seahawks schedule is the Packers and the division games. Washington football team, I mean, I think your run game is going to be crap, but I think the secondary is where you're going to make up for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's another scary one. If you go by their
Their offense
defense,
doesn't scare me at all, really. Their
it's
defense
because
is
it's
their
because we
defense
don't
scares me.
trust the quarterback there. Texans, you're going to bulldoze.
Hopefully, if we don't bulldoze the Texans, we got much bigger issues than going starting 0-9.
Listen, you do realize that. I mean, come on, dude. Me and Tex have talked about this on Bull Drop-ins, and let me tell you something. There are some people that anticipate the Texans not to win a game. Tyrod Taylor's already marked the week 1 starter. And
I
on
have
top of that, there's actually a clause in some of these suicide pools where for the year, even with an extra game added, the max you could go against the Texans is 4 times. When's
I
there ever been that rule?
never. I actually agree with that. 0-17. I bet on DraftKings. I believe the line was like plus 25,000. I put $10 on that for the Texans to go 0-17. I really hope they
I
go.
I gotta look at that. I got
It's a very good line. I don't know if it's
is it
exactly plus
is it on
25,000.
money? Is it on money? Is it on my bookie?
It's not. It's on DraftKings.
Ah,
It's
damn,
a very good line though, and I
damn.
saw it.
I don't think I could have DraftKings here, unfortunately.
It was a very delicious line, and I spent a lot of money on it. I'm gonna be swimming when Tyrod and David
Hey,
Mills and
just
Deshaun
just be
Watson.
careful. I've seen you bet, my man, and I've seen you lose hard. But I mean, I've also seen CC and Max lose hard too.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna be in
Dude,
shambles.
I can't be those guys because they freaking lose money on a one fight that ends in less than 5 minutes of what I make in a week.
Yeah. No, I've made my rule though. No more betting on the Seahawks. I'm just gonna avoid them for right now.
Listen, my man, if I were you, if it's anything related to the Bears or the Seahawks,
Stay away.
any of your teams, right? So that means no Bulls, no Cubs, no Bears, no Seahawks. Stay away. Because if you noticed, did you notice that during the Super Bowl, I didn't take a single bet on anything?
Yeah. I
I didn't
will
even
say
bet on
though.
what color the fucking Gatorade was.
I will say Rams plus 7.5 is pretty enticing for week 1. I will say.
Really?
I will say. I do think they're gonna kick the shit out of the Bears. Plus 7.5 is not a bad line in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And then you got the Lions, then you got the Cardinals again to end it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going by the easy games, right?
Yeah.
Let's just go the easy games now. Lions,
W.
Bears,
Hey. That's Justin Fields Bears. I don't know.
Jags,
Jags, 100%. Texans.
Texans.
I'm
I can't say Jags, but I'll go 5 there. The only thing that actually, I mean, if you see the Jags actually don't have a bad schedule, because I mean, you play the Texans twice a year. Who the hell knows what the Colts are going to be?
I
This is
think
going to be something.
I also think the Steelers is a pretty easy game. I don't think the Steelers are going to be good.
You
I
know,
mean,
I've been wondering it because they lost pieces, and then they're worried about T.J. Watt starting because of his contract his conflict of interest.
I think this is a
It,
Khalil Mack situation. I could see TJ Watt being traded in the near future.
Tomlin loves the guy, and at least he's actually speaking up because I mean the Raiders organization is just kind of like, oh, we love this guy, yeah, but no, and then they
Yeah.
want him back. Come on.
That was simping. That was some simping that they did
Oh,
for
by
Khalil
the
Mack.
way, just for the record, right? I'm not sure if you've heard what's been going on with John Gruden, anything else. He says he doesn't feel nervous, anything else. If you look at the guy on the practice field, guess what?
Looks a
That
little
guy
nervous.
looks like that guy looks like he's eating a lot of fried chicken and beer. That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I'd be
Listen,
scared.
listen. I don't fat shame people, but when you know that a guy has certainly looked much bigger, and the guy says he's not nervous, okay, so it looks like he's eating a lot of fried chicken and beer, and says I'm not nervous. You're
Hey
not
man,
nervous because you know that you're going to be 4th in your division this year? Come on, man.
maybe he's just enjoying that Las Vegas lifestyle, man.
Listen, I'll just say this. whether if you got the Chiefs or the Chargers win this division. Listen, I'm a Chiefs fan right here. I got my Priest Holmes jersey right here, my first jersey. So just count it, right? If you say that the Chargers are going to win the division, I'm not going to exactly bark at you
I
because
love
it
the
is
Chargers.
possible. Because if you go by their quarterback, even if you're optimistic about the new coach, if you look at the schedule the Chiefs had, if you look at the close games, and if you just look at, new wide receiver core, offensive line you're not sure about, defensive woes, Tyrann Mathieu not there for a little while because of COVID. You know what I mean? If you want to say that the Chargers are going to exceed expectations and make a run for it, I'm not mad at that. But it comes to this. We know that those two teams are most likely making the playoffs. The
Yes.
Broncos are terrible because of the bad offensive
The Broncos
line.
got a really good defense,
The
though. That's
court,
the thing. Their defense is
okay, but
really
also
good.
just remember this. If you look at it, right? Because there's a lot of people that basically harped on the Seahawks for drafting badly because they only had 3 picks. Okay, you extend a defensive back in Kyle Fuller, and then you go out and you draft a safety instead of a quarterback that you need when you're going to just
They
trade for
took
one
no,
anyway.
they took another corner. They took Patrick Surtain. They took another corner
Yeah,
after they have Fuller and Callahan.
yeah, exactly. So
Don't get
you
me wrong,
pick.
Patrick Surtain is
So
really good. He's
I under,
really good.
I understand, but what
Yeah,
I'm saying is you go with Sertan, and then the next pick you go with a running back. You just got rid of a running back that was, I mean, that was a steal for what the Texans got him to. And come on, you sign a running back even though you don't need him. Get rid of the old guy, but draft another one. That's not what you need.
yeah. I
Even
don't
if you
think
like, even if you liked Mills, that was a better pick. But then the fact that you passed on a quarterback when you're going to trade for one anyway, you're guess what? Justin Fields could be a Bronco right now if
mhm.
they had half a brain.
I have no complaints about that.
I
Absolutely
know
zero.
you don't. I
Uh,
know you don't.
what I
But still,
think
the concept
about the
remains
Broncos,
the same.
I think the Broncos are going to be this year's Washington football team. I think their defense is going to be just absolutely unreal. Their defensive line, Chubb and Miller, are going to be legit. Their defensive backfield is fantastic. With their safeties, with Cal Fuller, Bryce Callahan, Patrick Surtain, their defense is going to be probably top 4 or 5 in the league. Really good. I don't know how many points they're going to score, though. And that's the
Fair enough.
problem. When you play a team like the Chiefs who can drop 50, no problem, or the Chargers who can drop 50, no problem, or any team that they're going to play in the
Oh,
playoffs.
problem. Ooh.
Well, you know what I mean? Like any given day, the Chiefs could just drop 50 points. And if the Broncos get in a game like that, they have no chance.
Now, realistically, if you said 40, I'd get it. You know what I mean?
40, 50. Do you ever
It's a
watch
good.
that Rams game? They could drop 50 real quick, AJ. Just like that.
Trust me. We want that for the Super Bowl, if you remember.
Yeah, I do. And then we got 10-3 Chiefs. Not 10 to. We got 10-3 Patriots Rams. Yeah, it's
I
great.
think 13-3, but still.
Yeah, 13-3. Yeah,
Hey, the fact that also Brady's the only quarterback where he's able to go 13 points or less twice. Like the fact that that's how you win a Super Bowl. Like I mean, it's just if we go by Tex and I did a while back, but we did the most entertaining Super Bowls of the 21st century. And the Eagles Patriots, I think was definitely, I think it was number one.
most irritating.
The worst was definitely the Rams Patriots, but one of the ones that was definitely down there was Seahawks Steelers. Because if you go by
Yeah,
fair game, too many calls, Johnny calls do affect the rating. As in, hey, this guy stepped out, but they didn't call it, this and that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, the
It's
Steelers
just,
did get some good calls in that game. To be
yes.
completely honest, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it wasn't a good Super Bowl. I was 3 years old though, so that's before I never watched that game. I was 3 years old, so I wouldn't have remembered it even if I did watch it. But I've heard and I've seen from highlights that it was not a very good game. But
Yeah. You got any concerns being a Seahawk fan right now? I mean, there's the Dwayne
corners,
Brown.
the corners scared the shit out of me. I think the rest of our team is good. Obviously, Russ, DK, Tyler, I think Chris Carson are fine. I think the offensive line for right now is fine. Defensive line, I have confidence in. Some guys, some young guys, Darrell Taylor, Carlos Dunlap's going to be great. Kerry Hyder, Alton Robinson. I think LJ Collier will step up. Poona Ford, I really like. Love the linebackers. Love our safeties. Our corners scare the shit out of me. I have no idea who's going to be good at corner.
So here's going to be a hard question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And this unfortunately happens to every team. And I even see that my team, if they had to do it next year, wouldn't surprise me, just to a point. Every team, unfortunately, has to rebuild. It's either the salary cap goes up and, gets to them. Like, how the way I actually put it? Because that no one likes paying taxes, doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. I actually proposed to Josh that we should make the NFL luxury tax basically the way like baseball does it. Except it's like, hey, for every dollar you go over, you spend double that. Now, even though the luxury tax, it goes like, hey, 3 years or more, it's 50 cents for every dollar you go over, whatever. Since the NFL makes so much money, just make it double immediately. As in, hey, this guy needs a sign-in bonus, but we're already over the cap. All right, Chief, but guess what? You're spending double of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just because, like, oh, we're going to put this guy's $3 million to 2025. We're going to put the rest of Russell Wilson's contract to please him for early retirement when he's 50 years old back in 2034. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just all this crazy stuff that goes on. It's just like, dude, quit being, quit beating around the bush. Just be straight up about it. Just, hey, put it on the books. It's all here. And then at the end of the year, boom, you book everybody. And if they got to spend double, screw it. They got to spend double because we're tired of this. Oh, I need a new contract. I need a new contract. But then it's just like, dude, you do realize we're already below the salary cap. Yeah, well, that ain't my problem.
Well, I think what John Schneider does really well, like better than most general managers, is he works around contract negotiations. We saw with Jamal Adams. There was a stalemate. John Schneider won. We've seen it with Dwayne Brown. There was a stalemate. John Schneider won. Back in the day when Russ wanted a new deal. Russ wanted a little more money. John Schneider won. He's very good with contract negotiations. And so I don't think he would ever say, hey, I'm done with this contract. You're out of here. If there's a player that they really like, okay, DK, for example. DK is going to get paid a lot of money very soon. Probably, I would say, the next year or two, he gets that extension. They're not just going to say, oh, you want too much, you're out of here. They're going to work, and they have, a whole process that they do. They're going to work through it, and John is going to get DK Metcalf locked up to be a Seahawk for a long time. I have no doubt in my mind. So
that's why I went to the salary cap thing, is because it's like, hey, so it doesn't go to the cap. We right. Mahomes said that he has something in this contract where he doesn't even have to ask for permission. He could take X amount of dollars and boom, it's a sign-in bonus. So it's not on the cap. It's like, really?
Yeah. I think that's creative. I think it's very creative.
I get that, but at the same time, it's like the fact that everybody's doing it is just like, dude, make it like the way baseball does. If a guy gets incentive, put on the books. If a guy's got to get paid, put on the books. Because if you go by the off season, even though I think he has one more year left or, the option, whatever, eventually DK is going to have to and want to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was a second round pick, if I'm correct, right?
Yep.
So I'm not even sure if he even has that 5th year option.
No, not for second rounders. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the first one for a second rounder was this year. I think it was one of the corners that Jacksonville.
Henderson? No, not Henderson. Henderson?
It was this year. Forget. Second round. But anyways, problem being is that what do you think he's worth? If you had to guess.
See, it gets a little complicated because right now,
he's only had one good year if you think about it as well.
Here's my thinking. So right now, D-Hop is top of the market. He's making 27.5 a year, I believe. Devontae Adams is going to get 28 minimum, right? He's going to get minimum 28. My thought is, all right, with DK, you have a guy who is more of an athletic freak than either one of those two. I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying he's more of an athletic freak. He's younger. I would say in about a year or two, I think DK will be in the 15 to 20 a year range.
So, all right,
That would be my guess. That would be my guess.
I have an offer for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of go off of this. Now, I think he's going to make close to Odell money, but just remember, Odell hasn't been Odell since he was on the boat with the Giants. Let's just
he was Odell for the first half of this year before he got hurt. To be fair,
but again,
yeah,
he hasn't been elite where he's been worth it since the boat trip.
Sure.
You call it how it is. Like a lot of people want to talk about top 10 wide receivers, and I say Julio Jones isn't a top 10 anymore. And everyone says why? Okay, for the last 5 years, he's been hurt. Every single year he's been hurt. Since Antonio Brown has been number one on the wide receiver charts, the man has been hurt. He's missed 2 games, he's missed 4 games, he's missed freaking 8 games. So when a guy you know is going to be written off for almost half the season every single year, how could you keep putting him in the top 10? I can't do it anymore. There's too much wide receiver talent out there who's consistent to, just not make him up on that list anymore. And I think that's fair. So with DK, even though he's had 1 year, but you know what his ceiling is, if I were to give him 4 years, 85 with 60 of it guaranteed, I think that's fair because you still have some development there and he's been healthy.
Yeah, and DK's what? I think DK's 25 right now. So that would be the deal would end like as he's 30.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think that's fair. Yeah, he's 20. Oh, he's 23 right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's younger than me for crying out loud.
He's young. He's young. That's what really helps him more than Devontae Adams or D-Hop is he's young. And obviously he's going to want to stay in Seattle. He's going to want to team up with Russ for as long as he can. Russ and DK complement each other magnificently.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd probably lean closer to 20. But the thing is in a year or two, we're going to have a couple guys not on the team that are on the team right now. So that could free up some cap. And the Jamal Adams deal is fairly team friendly. It's fairly team friendly, and so is Russ's, which we'll also have to take care of soon. So, yeah, I think DK will definitely get paid 20 a year for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking because if you go by with a sign-in bonus in there, the money guaranteed, stuff up front, this and that, I think 85 over 4 years with 60 of it guaranteed. I think that's a good number.
I would agree. And I don't think DK's the type of guy that wants to be the highest paid wide receiver. He's a very humble guy. I think he just wants to get paid what he deserves.
Yeah, you don't hear him in the media too, which is what some people actually like.
Yeah, I it's really good because he is kind of a celebrity, if that makes sense. He's, everybody knows DK. He's super fast, super strong. He's Superman out there. And I feel like for a guy, when Antonio Brown was the hype of the league, Antonio Brown was all talk. And, again, you talked about Julio. Julio was never like that. Julio kept it zipped up. He was very humble. DK is a very humble guy. You hear him in interviews. He's always giving credit to his teammates. So just a great character. And I don't think
we say Julio is humble, but let's just say this. We hope, right? Yeah. After the investigation that's going on, humble, but better hope that he's not guilty.
Better hope he's innocent also.
Otherwise, guess what? I'm actually very surprised that the commissioner hasn't put some guys on leave, especially because Roddy White and Julio Jones. I mean, if that's the case, they got not only they got some of the biggest scandals going on in NFL history at the moment.
I'll be honest. Last thing I'll say, if they would put Julio Jones on administrative leave for week 2 and week 2 only, I would absolutely love that.
Well, hey, just put it this way. I mean, for a guy that's doing a Texans podcast, bull droppings and such, we've been actually wondering when is Deshaun Watson going to be put on commissioner leave? And if you want to ensue the quote unquote tank job, well, they'd rather do that because right now they're prepared to pay him as a healthy scratch. And because he's making so much money, for labeling him inactive to start, for him not to play a single down of football this year, it's a little over $10.5 million.
I would love to get paid $10.5 million to sit, not courtside, to sit, on the bench of an NFL game and just watch football, 17 games a year. I would love to do that. That'd be my dream job.
Well, hey, if we're both making $10.5 million, we'll open up that wing place we talked about.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I think that's a good way to end it. So please tell Jake and Matt I said hello.
Will do.
And please have a very healthy and happy start to the season. And do yourself a favor. Get yourself maybe like a fidget toy like this baseball, because don't throw it either. Because I think that this season's going to give us a fair amount of heartburn, especially during fantasy and prop bets like myself.
The Seahawks always give me heartburn, AJ. This is nothing new.
Oh, absolutely not. And with that, this is the Pain with DeFran. Please check out Always Compete. And we are going to get the full content in the description down below as soon as we can. Everybody, have a good night. We love you.